Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It has been such a technology glitched filled night, but we are here. So thank you for those of you who are tuning in. This is our 7 o'clock interview with SBL members. If you don't know me, I'm Nikita Brown. I am the nurse practitioner who teaches and trains you ways to get and stay healthy. Today is Tuesday. Normally I do Tip Tuesday, but if you've been following me, you know that I have been interviewing SBL members all this week. And so we'll have interviews at 1:30 and at 7 p.m. So if you missed a couple of the interviews, go back and watch those. Hopefully you all can see and hear me well. I do have two guests with me tonight. One is here, you can see her. The other is by phone. Thank you all for hanging in and being patient with us. We were trying to work out some technology glitches in the background, but we made it happen. So I will let Miss Linda introduce herself first, and then Guada, you can take over.
Good evening, everyone. I am Linda Brunson from Clinton, North Carolina. I'm a retired associate superintendent in Clinton City Schools from Clinton City Schools. I'm currently serving as a chair of the Board of Education, and I teach part-time as an associate professor at East Carolina University in the leadership department.
Nice, thank you. Guada, can you hear me?
I can. Good evening, everyone. I am Guida Myers. I am the program director for Kairos Church Ministries After School 21st Century Community Learning Center. I am also the owner and founder of 360 Life Consulting, and that's what I've been doing for the past 3 years.
So first, let me say thank you to both of you for agreeing to let me interview you tonight, and let those who have questions, those who are interested in SBL, have a chance to put their questions down in the chat. So welcome to all the ladies who are here. I see a few of your SBL members and sisters here. So welcome to everybody. Make sure you share this out on your news feed, because the doors of SBL are getting ready to open, and people probably have questions for you. I know people ask me questions, and I thought it best this time for them to hear firsthand from some of the members. So let's start out by asking both of you, what made you join SBL?
Well, I guess you can go ahead, Miss Linda.
Go ahead. I can wait.
I decided to join SBL after, I know this is going to sound odd, I met my cousin Katara. We were out shopping and she looked great. And, I asked her what was she doing. She said she joined SBL. Prior to that, I had attempted, I've had lap band surgery, Weight Watchers, LA Weight Loss. And I guess I should give you some background history. I have been type 1 diabetic since I was 9, and I have struggled for many, many years to get my diabetes under control. And so prior to the pandemic, I was just kind of sick and tired of being tired, and decided I was going to take a health journey, cut out carbs, and try to keto lifestyle. And it was working, but I kind of felt like I was out there all by myself, no support. And so I had literally just prayed and, just seeking the Lord when I saw Qatar. So I felt like that was God answering my prayer to give me what I needed. And I said, you know what? I've tried everything else. So I came in a bit skeptical. This is not going to work. Nothing's ever worked. But to me, SBL was like my last effort, my last hope. So I joined hoping that this was going to be the one that was going to be the life changer.
Thank you, Miss Linda.
Yes, my longtime friend, Wanda Dawson, who is also an SBL sister, told me about the program and asked me if I wanted to join. We've been doing a lot of things together for probably over 20 years now. I asked her a little bit about it, and she told me about the success of a couple of our friends, Vicki Mosley Jones and Barbara Miller, and said, girl, you ought to see them. They look good. So it was perfect time for me as I had basically been in the house for almost a year since COVID. And you know how it is when you're in the house, you live alone, you have plenty of food, you're not getting out much. So you cook and you eat too much. So it was perfect timing. And I'm like Guada, I needed to try something. I was thinking about it, believe it or not, on my own. I just didn't know what to do. And it was just perfect timing for me.
Nice. And I want to jump back to something that Guida said. She said that she had prayed for what her next move should be. And I oftentimes tell people that we do that, right? So we'll pray for something and we'll ask God to give us something or to show us something. But then when He gives it to you, sometimes when it's not like you want it, it's not in a box, it doesn't look like who you thought was going to deliver it to you, you're like, oh, I don't know if that's for me. I don't know if I should do it. So you start second guess the very thing that you have asked Him to give you because it doesn't look like what you thought it should look like. So congratulations to Guida and Miss Linda for both stepping out on faith and trying something that you never thought that you would try before. A lot of people have questions and they always ask me about SBL, and I can only tell it from my perspective. I am one who actually does everything that the members do in the program. So anything that I ask them to do, I'm actually doing it with them. I actually do everything they do 2 to 3 weeks before they do it, just to make sure when I tell them to do it, that it's not too much of an effort. Notice I said too much. It's got to be a little bit of an effort, a little bit of a challenge, but not too much. So I do the very thing that I'm instructing and telling them to do. And so it is totally a group effort. So welcome again to everybody who is joining Facebook. A lot of the sisters are here. Thank y'all for joining. If you could speak, both of you, we'll start with Ms. Linda this time, just about how you have found the community or the SBL community to be since you've been a part, and let us know when you joined SBL.
Okay. I actually joined it. I probably never forget this day. It was January 18th, 2021, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. It was my first experience with 550, believe it or not. The fellowship, the spirituality, the motivational speakers. I love some John P. Key. The song I sing it almost all the time now. Is kind of where I got started with the program, and the compassion and the love. Now we're in groups last week. It seems like this group has been my group forever. So that's kind of how I got started, and how it's working for me. The fellowship is really top notch.
Guida?
Well, Miss Linda, I believe you and I joined around the same time, January 2021.
I think so.
And at first I was like, ooh, this is that first week, 5 minutes. Oh, I can handle that. And it's just been the support. I've never been a part of a group that's so supportive and just positive. And days that I don't want to do it, it's something within me that says, you know what, you're going to let your SBL sisters down if you don't push, because it's some pushing even harder than you are. And I don't know, that's just been my motivator, is knowing that I have over 90 plus other women doing the same thing that I'm doing and succeeding at it. So that is such a strong motivator for me, and it excites me to know that I'm a part of something as it's bigger than me, and I love it. I love it.
And so for those who watch and follow me, you saw on last week, Ms. Linda talked about the group. So last week, as a group effort, I put a challenge out to the members to make a mark on their steps and to complete at least 4 million steps in 5 days. And so with the members that we had, we broke off into groups. And so you should have seen those numbers on my page. We actually completed over 5 million steps on last week, everybody combined. So I tell people, I know that everybody's not stepping the same amount. The group process is great because we have some people who are less steppers, some people who are high steppers, some people somewhere in the middle. We recognize that every day is not going to be quote unquote a good day, but the next day you wake up, you're blessed to see the next day. It's a day to put your best foot forward and to do it all again. So the group, I think, is one of the things that keeps people held accountable, because it's one thing to be held accountable to yourself. And let's face it, when you've been held accountable to yourself, that's what oftentimes puts you in the predicament that you're in anyway, because yourself can talk yourself out of just about anything. But on the other hand, yourself can then talk your same self into doing some things. So we just have to have a shift of our mindset. And as we lead into the next question, talk to me about how your mindset has shifted over the past few months since you've been in SBL. Guada, let's let you go first.
Well, as you were talking about the step challenge, Friday I was going on vacation, and all I could think was, oh my God, I have got to figure out how to get these steps in so that I do not disappoint my group. Now, mind you, we were traveling from North Carolina to Pennsylvania, and all I kept thinking about was every chance I get, I got to get steps. So while traveling, and I don't know how it happened, but my mind just said, you get this done for your group. And I was able to get over 12,000 steps traveling. It was a lot of effort, and I was sore that night, but my mind was, in the past, I'm like, oh, I'm on vacation, I'm checking out, but I can't explain the difference now. Is all I can say is that it's me at the forefront of my mind, knowing that if I fall back into my old habits, it's going to undo everything that I've already been able to accomplish. And I decided that I'm no longer going to self-destruct.
Absolutely.
I've always known, even before SBL, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I mean, I've just always known that. But SBL has reinforced that belief. I kind of like a challenge. I don't compete with others. I really compete with myself. I try to better myself, and my mind has shifted from what I eat, how much I eat, when I eat, how it's prepared, who prepares it. I really did like Popeyes up until SBL, so I haven't been to Popeyes in a while, but I'm getting better at preparing my own meals. I was not a great cook, but now I think I'm doing pretty good because I enjoy those cooking tips. So my mind has shifted from, now that I know better, I'm doing better. I know, like I said, how to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. I'm better at portion control. It is a mindset shift, and you have to want it for yourself. It can't really come from an external source. It has to be, you have to be internally motivated, and that's why SBL has done for me.
And I am here as the leader of the group to push that greatness out of you. For those of you all who are watching the Olympics, for those who watch any sport, the coach is not the person who is playing the actual game. The coach is the one who gives the tips and helps to prepare the person for the game. So each member in SBL, it is in essence running their own race, and they're in their own game. I give them the tips, I give them the education, but they are in essence running their own race. And that's what I let them know each and every day. For those of you who may be hearing them talk about cooking, so we talk about ways that you can make healthy and better choices. We recognize that habits don't change overnight because you don't make habits overnight. But over time, as you start doing things differently, we think that habits and better habits will form. So I think ladies will say they have done cooking much more now so than if ever before. And if they aren't the ones who were doing the cooking before, perhaps now they're actually taking a stab at doing some of that cooking. We do have some tutorials where we teach them simple ways to prepare vegetables, how to make things differently than maybe they have never tried before. So I think it's just a way to shake it up. And y'all know we like a little bit of meat and grease in lots of things that we eat. So I try to give them some alternatives to adding meat and grease to things that we eat. So let's talk about mind, body, and soul. So Ms. Linda talked about the verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That was actually our first verse. So I give them a scripture and a verse each week that they are to think about, that they are to meditate on, that they are to say to themselves or out loud before they even come to 550? Because I believe that if they start the best part of their day first with him and then with themselves, that it leads to a better day. So how would you tell people the transformation or the impact that SBL has on not only the body, because people look at you and they see your body, but what about what they can't see, your mind, your soul? Miss Linda.
Okay. That's what this journey is all about for me. Those three things work in concert with each other. You're changing your mind. It changes your body. It changes how your body thinks about, what's good for it and what's not good for it. Um, you have to commit yourself to the process. And like I said earlier, it has to be internally motivated. My goal is to renew my mind every day. I want to be around positive people, and that's what SBL is. I mean, people are, complimenting each other at 5:30, at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're encouraging each other to have a great day, the happy birthday. I've had many birthdays, and I think I have the most well wishes this year that I've ever had in my life. And that affects your mind, and that lets you know that there are others out there who are thinking about you, who know that's your special day, and at least take the time out to say, "Oh, happy birthday." I always strive to be a part of the solution, not ever a part of the problem. So I look for ways to compromise when there are dissenting opinions or when people don't agree. But with this, the SBL journey, I found that we're all pretty much in the same mindset. We know why we're in the program, that we want to better our health, our wellness. We want a better lifestyle. So all the mind, the body, and the soul. Again, we start with the scripture. The prayers are so inspirational. I started out not liking the 550. And now I find myself getting up at 5:15, 5:30. I'm saying, well, look, I can walk 2 miles before the kids get started. So that's your mindset. It shifted from not liking 5:50 to finding a way to be almost half finished by the time 5:50 gets started. So it's just been a wonderful 360 for me as being a part of this program.
Well, I kind of agree with you, Miss Linda. It's the journey in and of itself has motivated me. With this first, I think the shift in my mindset happened, and then seeing the results in the body. But I think the soul piece comes into play with just understanding that spiritually, you want to do what pleases God, and I have started to look at what I put in my body, what I allow to happen to my body, as a part of my worship. And SBL helps me to recenter, refocus, and just when it comes to making healthier choices. Now when I'm going shopping, I used to look for the closest parking spot, to the building. Now my mindset is, let me park further away to try to get more steps in. That's not something that I would have done, in the past. Um, and so there's this spiritual connection that I found with, I want to please God in what I do and what I put in, what I do, what I put in my body. And it's so motivating when you wake up first thing in the morning and you look at your Facebook feed and there's a scripture, you know, I can do all things through Christ. The scripture about Christ coming that we should have life and have life abundantly. And so all of these scriptures I have written in my notebook. It's motivating. I still have my positive affirmations on my mirror that Nakidra had told us to, put some positive affirmations out. So all of these new behaviors and actions that I've adopted since being a part of SBL have have shifted my behavior patterns, shifted my thought pattern, and just spiritually, I think, has made me more accountable to how I want to present myself, to others in terms of how I want to present Christ. You know, it's not just about the words that I say, but it's about what do you see when you see me? Do you see the beauty of God in me through me taking care of my body, which is the
Right.
temple? Do you see me um, pushing myself beyond what I would say are the limits that I set for myself? And so for me, being a part of SBL has been a new way to challenge me to worship God more so with taking care of the whole complete me, my mind, my body, and my soul.
Great. And I was saying in an earlier interview that oftentimes, as women who are always busy, I know Miss Linda is partially retired. She says she is still doing some work, but for those who wake up in the morning, your feet hit the floor, probably you are busy from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed. And as women, oftentimes we feel everything on our calendar, on our schedule, helping other people, taking the kids here, dropping them off, picking this up, picking that one up. And a lot of times we just don't put ourselves on our own schedule. You just don't do it. And if you do, when somebody calls and says, oh, can you do X, Y, and Z? You think, oh, well, it's just me that I was just going to work out, but I can just push that back to another time, or I can push that back later. So we're quick to divert the time that we have dedicated to ourselves and put something else in its place. So that's why I tell people front loading your day helps to get you centered. It helps to get you refocused, and it helps to just give you that push that you need to move through the day. Now, when people look at this, I know they're saying everything can't be rosy and nice about SBL. So what is the most difficult thing, or what is the thing that you maybe dislike about SBL and the program? Miss Linda.
Hmm. I think dislike may be a little bit too deep of a word. I don't dislike really anything. Like I said, 550 was a little bit tough for me being retired. I get up when I get ready. I go back to bed when I get ready. On most days, I am involved in some community activities though, but I've gotten used to that. And like I said, I get up even earlier than 550 some mornings and get my work done, get my steps in, my exercise in. I pause when you come on at 550 because, if my signal doesn't go off on my phone at 550, where is she? People, text it like, where's 550? So that was a little bit hard for me initially. I think the long days for me from 550 to 8:45 when we post what we've done is kind of hard because most of the time, I've stopped eating. I've kind of finished my day, my SBO journey that day, long before 8:45 at night. So, but that's not hard for me. I can adjust. I know how accountability, how important that is. I love to post because I challenge myself. I have internal challenges, even more than what you give us, Nikidra. So, writing it down is an affirmation that yeah, I did this. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to develop positive relationships with God in order to get anything done and in order for it to be successful. So there's nothing really hard about it, nothing that I dislike. I've grown accustomed to the process. I see that it works. It works for more than just one person. I guess the carb cycling was a little bit difficult for me that week. Uh, I don't think that was that was good for me, but I did it, and I know I can maybe put that on the back burner and find something different for me other than the carb cycling. But nothing's really hard, or there's nothing I dislike about the program.
Rida.
First and foremost, boiled eggs. That's probably going to be at the top of my list. However, I challenge myself um, to attempt and try to do everything that was laid before me. It's not necessarily that like Miss Linda said, it's nothing I dislike. I've never been a big morning person, and so at times 550 can be a challenge, particularly if I have a hard night with really low blood sugars, or it's just pushing myself to get the energy to get motivated that morning. I enjoyed the carb cycling, but I think the biggest challenge, because I won't say that it was something I disliked, is that my diet was a little bit more limited than some of the choices that some of the other ladies in the group may have. Like, I can't eat a lot of fruit because of my doctor has taken me off of fruit. So there's times when I'm trying really, really hard to figure out, what's something that I can eat, because I don't do fruit and I do a lot of carbs. So it's just been trying to figure out different recipes for myself that I can modify, take the fruit away, or take like some of the whole grains I don't eat because of the amount of carbs in them. So that's probably been the hardest part for me, is modifying certain requirements to suit my medical needs. But Nikita, you've been great in sending me some private messages and kind of helping me navigate. So I can't say that I haven't been able to figure it out. It's just that sometimes it's a little more challenging. The week that we did carb cycling, I was super excited because that was more similar to how I eat now anyway. I only eat about 30 carbs per day. So it was a little bit easier that week for me to plan my meals and kind of figure out what I wanted to do during the week that we were doing carb cycling, which is why I think I enjoyed it so much. But other than that, I can't say, I guess that would be probably the most challenging aspect to being a part of the group for me.
Great. So for those of you all who are just tuning in, I'm Nikita Brown. This typically is Tip Tuesday. You can go back to 1:30. I had an interview with an SBL member, and now I'm with Miss Linda and Guida, who are also SBL members. I'm doing interviews all this week because it is time to open up the SBL membership for the next session. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. Lots of people have been inboxing me because they saw graduation on Sunday. They saw the dedication plus commitment equals results t-shirts that flooded timelines. So this is your opportunity to ask questions for people who actually have lived and learned and are here to tell the story. So Guida, just to go back, she mentioned earlier, if you didn't hear her, she's had diabetes since the age of 9. And so again, this is a group setting. It is a group coaching atmosphere. However, I try personally to get to know each individual person, which is why I only take a certain amount of people in per round, because if I took lots of people, I wouldn't have that individuality with each person. Now, I only know what people tell me, and that of course stays in confidence, but it helps me to kind of know who I need to check on a little bit more, what I need to modify for certain people, if we need to have some, I call them one-offs for certain people versus others. So it's helpful when people let me know about what's going on. You do fill out a medical form that gives me some background when you first start. So that just gives me some information about kind of what goes on, what's going on with you. And again, it stays in confidence, but it's so I can help you as we go through. Now, before we get to our last question, so I was reading something earlier this week, and people in SBL, they know when I read something, they get this, thoughts churning. And I actually thought about Guida when I was reading it, and it took me back to Joseph. And it talked about how Joseph, his brothers wanted to kill him. And he had an older brother who was like, no, don't kill him. And behind that brother's back, they ended up selling him. And when he was sold, he became a slave. And so I thought about Guida, not because you've been sold or because you've been a slave, but I thought about Joseph, how he probably felt like he was betrayed, how he was exiled and somewhere he didn't know, how he was put in prison, and how he was basically alone for so long. And I thought about how you must feel over the years being a diabetic at such a young age, how sometimes you probably felt like, oh, I've been betrayed, or, oh, I'm in prison in my own body, or, oh, nobody really knows what I'm going through. And I was always comforted by the fact that when I did touch in with Guada, or when she sent me the messages on Saturday, she would always end by saying, but I am still trusting the process. I am still believing. I will still keep the faith. And every time I saw her message, my heart was just like, you know what? I just was so overjoyed. And I was just thinking as I read this thing a couple of days ago that we all have trials and we all have tribulations. And certainly when Joseph found and saw his brothers, certainly he probably felt like he wanted to, get back at them. Certainly he felt like he wanted to have revenge. But this is such a message of how even through the storms, God is always with us. And even through the times you tried to lose weight before, the times you tried surgery, the times you tried other programs, he was with you right until the end, right until now. And so sometimes it's about having faith. It's about being strong. It's about trusting him in all circumstances. So that's a tangent. I know, but I just thought about you as I read that, Guada, about I appreciate the fact that you were always, and you are always, despite what you're going through, despite how we have to kind of cater you and you can't do what we're doing that week, but you're willing to say, you know what, I'll try my best. You know what, I'll do what it takes. You know what, I'll do what I need to do. And so that's just a testament of if we are faithful, if we trust him, if we just do what it takes in all circumstances, not when we're feeling good, not when we're losing weight, not when people say, oh girl, you got it going on, but even in the bad times, even when you don't see the scales move, even when you feel like, oh, this is not working, even when you feel like, I don't know what's going on, we just got to still trust him. And we got to just stay the course, trust the process, not just in this and SBL, but in any and every facet of our lives. So there you have it, in my famous words. So before we get going, I think we have one more question here that I had. If you have any additional comments, I'm going to pull up some pictures that you all have given me and screen share them. So Ms. Linda, what additional comments would you like to say?
I tell you, it's just been great for me. It's almost hard to put it into words how the entire program, not like you said, it's not all about losing the weight. I did have a goal, and luckily I met that goal. My first short-term goal, I met it 5 weeks early in our first round. And I'm still short about almost 2 pounds for my second round of goal, my weight loss. But I never thought about there would be I would shed inches off my waist, my hips, my thighs, my arms, bust line. I mean, those things I really didn't even think about initially. You don't realize, as my dad would say, how round you are until you're not that round anymore. So I would say, I just feel so successful, even on the weeks when I lost no pounds, or 2/10 of a pound, or 3/10 of a pound, and no pounds. I was still thankful and grateful for having been in the program, for Nikidra, for your leadership, for your guidance, for your encouragement. Like you said, you have so many people that you would think you don't get an individual response or reply. But if I had a situation or had a question or had a comment, I mean, you get back to me, and you treated me as an individual, not as a group. So all those things, I think if anybody's on the fence about joining SBL, I would encourage them to give it a try. And as I mentioned earlier, everything or every part of the program is not for everybody, but there is enough variety in it that you can find your place. You can find what works for you, what's good for you, what's not good for you, which was eye-opening for me. You talked about, the cooking. I know the guy at the local grocery store where I used to buy all my ham bones and my ham meat pieces to cook my collard greens and my and my garden peas and green beans. Thinks I probably moved to New York or someplace, because I haven't been there since January, because I'm not doing that anymore. So you can find what works for you in this program. And again, if I've found that if you assign something for us to do that may be out of our range, or we're not comfortable with that, they give you a text or email or message you, and you can kind of figure out an alternative. And I think that lets me know that it's that I'm an individual in the program and that I'm important to you. And I feel like all the other ladies feel the same way. So I say hop right in there, try it. I think you would like it, because I'm a results oriented person, and I see results. So it keeps you want to keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Miss Linda. Guida?
Well, I first would say thank you, Nikita, for being so willing to give of yourself. And I think that has been the joy for me, is to see you don't have to get up as early as you don't have to be as positive, you know, and to take on the responsibility of guiding so many of us. That to me has been my drive, my push, to know that I have someone leading me who is not just saying it, but they're doing it and being the example. I'm like Miss Linda. I like to see results, and for me, initially, well, my top goal was to bring my A1C down. Um, and as you were sharing earlier, it it went down and then it went back up, and so there were some moments when I was discouraged. However, um, and I said your timing is impeccable. You would send an encouraging word, or you'd send something that would remind me, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And for me, this has been what has SBL has been to me a godsend, because I'm not looking at the diabetes as this thing that's going to take me out. It's going to cripple me. It's going to hinder me. I'm looking at it as this is something that I have to manage. And the only way you're going to manage something is you have to, if you see what you're doing is not working, then you have to be willing to try something else.
Right.
And SBL has been me trying something else, and it's working. And it may not be for everyone, but it's what I needed. It's how God answered my prayer. Um, and it was a specific prayer that I was praying, so I know that SBL was the answer to my prayer, and I'm getting the results that I never thought I could get without um, spending tons and tons of money and surgical intervention. So it it's the mind body soul connection that I've been looking for, and to have such a large group of support, and a leader who is not just telling you to do as I do, do as I say, not as I do. You're getting up, and you're showing us this can be done. You're showing us how to front load our day. I've never considered myself a morning person, but now I'm finding myself getting up. Okay, what can I get done before this time so that I'll have more free time for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just, I've learned self-care. I've learned if I need to take a mental health break or do something for me, it's okay. I can slow down for me. So SBL has taught me to I won't say be selfish, but I can't be any good to anyone else if I'm not good to myself first.
Right. And it teaches you how to put yourself in your schedule. I love to say it. It teaches you to schedule some time for you. It's okay, because people will take advantage of your time. They will have you doing all kinds of things and all sorts of things for them. But you have to make sure you take time for you. So earlier today, I had an interview with Miss Wanda Parker Dawson, and I did not show her picture. And so I'm going to go back to her really, really quickly. You saw it on my news feed, but this is Miss Wanda. So congratulations. I know she was here watching earlier. So congratulations, Miss Wanda. Thank you for letting me interview you earlier today. And this is her as well. So again, an after SBL picture. And then we have Miss Linda. So this is Miss Wanda and Miss Linda together because they are good friends, probably inseparable. But this is them together. And then I have this one, Miss Linda, fitting into her little black dress. So everybody needs a little black dress, right? So she's fitting her little black dress. So congratulations, Miss Linda. And then we have Miss Guida. So Guida is on the left. Now, Guida, is this the very first picture or is this after the first round on the left? Oh, you can't
with the green dress.
Green dress, yes.
That was first round.
So this is first round Guida on the left. And then the pretty in pink is on the right. This was just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. And the second round is where I saw the inches change.
So there you go. So again, we think that results come in ways that aren't always measured by the scale. So I tell them, don't get so overwhelmed and focused on what the scale is showing, because sometimes the scale is not going to change. But you put on that pair of pants or you put on that suit and it fits differently. So we'll take it. So we learn to enjoy our non-scale victories. She was talking about her A1C. We have ladies who have come off or lowered in their blood pressure medicines. We have ladies who have come off or down on some of their other medicines, their arthritis medicines. So all around, I think ladies are seeing good results. And so if people have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments. Before we hop off, I just want to say thank you to both of you, Miss Linda and Miss Guida, not only for letting me talk to you tonight, but for entrusted in me, your health and your wellness. I don't take it lightly that you chose to come to SBL. I think it is one of those things that is no coincidence. We were destined to meet each other at this appointed time and this appointed space. And I look forward to meeting you all in person. So SBL is all online. So lots of these ladies, I've met Guada before. It's been a long time. But many of the ladies I have never met in person, but I feel like, you know, I know them all. So it's such a sisterhood and such a great community that we just have that love for one another. So I don't see any questions coming through. Everybody saying job well done. So any last minute comments before we hop off, ladies? Thank you for forging through the technology issues that we had up front. Thank you for being willing to go out and come back in, go out and come back in, all of that. But here we are.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest challenge in the program. It's the technology piece, but
You know,
I agree, Ms. Linda. That's probably the technology.
well, I'm no pro at it myself, as we can.
Oh yeah, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't. I think I've already said this, but I do thank God for His blessings upon this program, upon you, upon all of us, and for giving you the guidance and the leadership to help us feel better about ourselves. And I can't wait to October either. It's quite a drive for me, but I'm looking forward to meeting people, in person as opposed to on the screen. But I've enjoyed it, and again, I recommend it to anybody who is listening and not quite sure that they should do this.
Absolutely. I mean, you never know until you try. And I say this, what does it hurt to try one round? And so I just say thank you, Nakidra, from the bottom of my heart for being obedient, because this is truly ministry that you're doing, and for being obedient to how God wants to use you to bless and help others.
Amen. Thank you, ladies. Y'all have a good night. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Tomorrow at 1:30 for the next interview. Y'all have a good night.
All right. They've all been great.
Bye-bye.